Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Slido event. We're super happy to host you. We're starting a bit early, so people are joining in shortly. We still have 5 more minutes to go, and we're super excited to host this event because we haven't had one for a long time. But before we actually start, we do have a question to kind of warm you up. So we have a Slido question for you, a poll. What is a new trend you have recently discovered? And the reason for this question is because we're going to talk a lot about what we've been working on, but also what are the things that are kind of coming. And all of these are coming from the feedbacks from the customers, but we've also done a few research pieces around what's the trend in the workspace right now and where do we want to Slido to fit in. So as you're joining in, please let me know what is some new trend that you have discovered recently. Okay, and again, for those of you joining us just now, welcome to this Slido event. And we have a little warm-up poll before we start, which is in 2 minutes. And the question is, what new trend have you recently discovered? And the reason for this is because we are going to talk about what we've discovered and some of the new cool things, hopefully cool things, that we've put in the product that have been informed by the trends that we are seeing in the workspace. So we want to know, is there anything new and cool on the horizon that we should hear about? And I see a few of you already participating. So thank you for that. TikTok, I have to say I haven't embraced that one. I decided that I'm an old millennial who's not going to go into a Gen Z thing, but if you upvote this enough, I might give it a try. So thanks for that. More tech in education, that's a really interesting one. Virtual orientation, nice. Quiet quitting, yeah, I heard about that one. That's a really interesting one. And just to let you know, if you can't find Slido, it is on the top right, in the top right corner of your screen. So if you want to participate, please feel free to do that. And by the way, you can see one of our cool new features, which is the typing indicator on the top of the screen, top left as well on the shared screen. So that's something that we are certainly really excited about. And one of my colleagues are going to talk more about. Great, so let's wait for that one more participant. And as I'm looking at the clock, it's actually 5 p.m. not only somewhere, but it's 5 p.m. in London, and that means that we can start. So Thank you for submitting your answers to this poll. Quiet quitting seems to be winning. But let's jump into the content. So let me actually start with introducing myself. My name is Martina, and I'm a product operations person here in Slido. And I will be your host over the next 90 minutes, guiding you through all the news and announcements from our team. But before we go into all of that, I want to take a bit of time and take a step back and say that I think the last 2 years have been nothing like we would have imagined before, right? We all needed to adapt to this new normal, a term that we've never really used before. And that's certainly true not only for us as individuals, but also for organizations, where its teams and leaders needed to get used to new challenges coming their way, but also opportunities. And that is certainly true for Slido as an organization. And so I want to take some time and say how extremely grateful we are for all of your partnership and placing your trust with us, Slido, as a tool over the last 2 years when the times have been really challenging and really uncertain. So today, we're going to share what we've been working on in the past, but also we want to give you a sneak peek into what's coming into Slido. And we also want to hear your feedback and your thoughts on this. And actually, when we're talking about feedback and thoughts, I do have one poll for you here, which is, please let us know for what kinds of events or meetings you're using Slido. We want to make sure that the events that we're going to hold are more tailored towards you. So please let us know so that we can tweak the content. Education, that's really interesting. And also you can select multiple options. So please let us know all of the ways that you're using Slido. Education still winning. That's a bit surprising for me, but great to know. You can see some more people voting. So let's wait for those votes. And education seems to be growing and winning. Lovely. And then we have large organization events, small and medium-sized organizations. Perfect. More votes coming in, so let's give it one more minute. And education just seems to be growing and growing. I'd be really interested in knowing if you're coming from education or if you're part of education team in some of the organizations as well. Perfect, and we have 60 votes now. 63, lovely. Thank you very much for letting us know. So education, then large organization, and then events. Cool, but let's have a look at the agenda. So we're going to kick things off with our general manager, Peter Komorning, or as we like to call him here, Komo, and he'll actually tell you about why he thinks collaboration, trust, and inclusion are key ingredients to successful teams and businesses. But he'll also share some personal notes about a recent acquisition of Slido by Cisco. After that, I'll have a privilege of sharing the stage with my fellow colleagues from product, the product managers and user researchers who will zoom in on some of the recent releases that we've done. And last but not least, we'll also host another Peter Krynak, our head of product, known as Cracky around here, and he'll give you a sneak peek into our roadmap. And since it wouldn't be a Slido event without running an Ask Me Anything session, we're going to do that as well at the end. And the reason for that is because we don't want this to be your average passive broadcast. We really want to engage in a conversation with you. And so there'll be a few polls throughout this session. So we invite you to take part in those, but also make sure that you ask us questions and upvote those of others. There's also no need for you to take any notes unless you really, really want to, because we will be sharing the recording with all the resources as well. And before I give word to our GM, Como, I want to do a quick shout out to Webex events platform, because this is actually the first time that we're running an event on their platform. Webex Events is formerly known as Socio. They're also a recent acquisition of Cisco. And if you're planning or thinking about hosting any event, you can head over to the partner section at the end of this event and book a demo with them. So a quick shout out and thank you guys for having us. And with that, I believe that's it from me, and I can give word to Kamo, our GM.
Thank you so much, Mati, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And wow, it has been a while since we have done our last product event, and we are super excited to share with you what we have been working on in the past year, and how you can leverage Slido to make your meetings even better. So we have always believed in the power of great meetings at Slido to facilitate learning, enable connections, and build trust. And from the beginning, our mission has been about helping people get the most from joining a meeting or event, and by creating a dialogue that is inclusive and open for every attendee. And by doing that, our vision was to transform how meetings and events are run around the world. But it's not just about the meetings, right? Especially in today's world, in the hybrid kind of world, world, meetings are often the key place for company culture to come alive. When done well, meetings really enable us to work well together as a team, provide us with the right information at the right time, and can create that space for our voices to be heard. So before actually I continue and before I jump in, I would love to hear from you and your opinion, what role meetings play in your organization. So how much do meetings contribute to shaping your company culture in your view? And 1 is like not that much, no impact, to 6 is like a really strong impact. So let's see what people are saying. Okay, we have more than 25, almost 30 votes in, and so far we're steering to pretty big impact, which is good to see that you decided to join this event talking about this. But I can also see some people voting like not that much impact yet. Mati, does this surprise you?
I think I was a bit more skeptical. I think I thought that people would be more towards the 2s and 3s. So what about you, Kama?
Yeah, I also expected maybe a little bit lower score, but it's pretty good to see that actually most of you understand and can appreciate actually the impact of meetings on the company culture. And if we move on, like we have seen it again and again, like if we make our meetings more engaging and more interactive, we not only improve our meetings, but we are also able to foster feelings of inclusion, empowerment, transparency, and ultimately build trust in our organizations. And this is especially true in like times of bigger change. And going back to what Mati was saying, as many of you know, Slido was acquired last year by Cisco. So I would like to share with you a personal story now about that acquisition. So initially, when that acquisition happened, obviously many people in Slido were pretty concerned, like how is our culture of a small startup, we were maybe 150 people at the time, like how is joining a big organization like Cisco going to impact our culture? But not just the culture, in more generally also, how is it going to impact our team, our product, our operations? And remember, all of this happened in the midst of the pandemic, when basically everyone was working from home completely remotely. So really our all hands meetings became like a key place to hear from our people, understand like what is the pulse check, get a pulse check how they are doing, but also answer any questions they might have on top of their mind. And oh boy, they had a lot of questions. And to be honest, not all of the questions were easy, and we didn't necessarily have all of the answers initially. But making sure, like giving this place to our people to ask their questions and understand what's top of mind for them was a key thing for us to guide them successfully through the change. And as a result of this openness, like people really appreciated us being so open and transparent. And as a result, actually, our employee NPS hit record high as we were going through the acquisition, despite all the changes that were kind of going on. But it wasn't just about the big all hands meetings. Our meetings overall really played a key role to get through the change as a team, and like really help our people kind of make the transition successfully. But to be able to achieve that, like it required a lot of hard work, a lot of preparation and openness also from us on the leadership side. So I have actually another follow-up question for you, and that is, how is the quality of meetings that you attend in your organization? at the moment. So I'll be really curious to actually see the results of this poll. And many of you obviously use Slido, so hopefully, again, it will be steering a little bit more towards the positive. Okay. So Mati, the picture looks a little bit different here, right? On the first poll, we have seen that many people actually think meetings have a really big impact on the culture in the organizations, but the quality doesn't seem to be that good. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm happy you joined this event. Hopefully, we'll be able to help with that a little, right? But come, I wonder, we actually ran this poll internally as well. Can you share what were the results?
We ran a little bit different version of this poll internally, and I expected that we also have quite a lot of work to do, but I was quite surprised that many people in Slido believe that our meetings are actually quite good. So that was good to see, and it was good to see that we are actually eating our own dog food, as they said. But again, like, thanks everyone for the feedback. It's really good to see the results, and it seems we definitely have still some work to do. So again, big thanks for joining us today. I'm very excited to share with you what we have been working on in the past year, and hopefully it will help you make your meetings even better in your organization. So now let's take a look at a quick video, and then we'll go give word to the PMs and our colleagues from the product.
Perfect. Thank you, Kama, for your intro. And also a shout out to our videographer, Machi, for compiling this video. I certainly danced a little in my seat, so hope it boosted your mood as well. And as Kama said, we are ready to go and zoom in on some of the recent releases. So let me introduce our first speaker, who's the lead of customer scale team here in Slido. And her name is actually Strudla, which in Slovak means a delicious pastry. So she's going to give us some delicious updates on the template library. Strudla, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mati, and hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here and share with you what we've built with the team over the last couple of months. Some of you might have remembered that we already used to have a templates library in the product. However, we decided to give it a nice uplift and enrich it to give even more inspiration to you. The main reason was that in the last years, the use of Slido among our customers had gone through some interesting changes, and we weren't really reflecting these changes in the library and in the examples that we are providing to you. Our users are using Slido polls more and more creatively across many different types of meetings and events, whether they run them in person, online, or in hybrid setup. And we wanted to share these new ways of using Slido among all our users and inspire you to actually get even more value from the Pulse feature. And hence, the new poll templates library was built. And building this library was actually a very tremendous effort of 3 Slido departments. We had the product department, customer success teams, and marketing teams joining their forces to build this library for you. We collected ideas and inspirations from dozens of our users, and we have also added examples from our own kitchen, so you can find their inspiration on how we in Slido are actually using Slido at our own meetings and events. And all these ideas have been shortlisted into 140 different poll templates and categorized into 13 meetings and events categories. But enough talking, let me actually show you how this looks directly in product and how you can start using it at your own meetings and events. So once you are in your Slido admin, you can find the poll templates library under this tab called Add Poll from Templates. When you click on it, the poll templates model will open. On the left-hand side, you can find these 13 different categories I was talking about. And under each category, you have a list of templates via which you can scroll and pick something you like for your event. Let me give you a concrete example of how you can actually start using it. So let's imagine I'm a team leader and I'm running a monthly retrospective with my team, and I'm about to actually organize one retrospective for my team. I don't really have much time. I really want this retrospective to be engaging. I really want to hear from my team, their feedback, and I hope this library can actually give me some nice examples and help me build that meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and select this retrospective category. And over here, you can scroll through some examples. I actually quite like this one, Stop, Start, Continue. I tend to use it quite often with my team. I think it's a great way of how you can efficiently collect feedback and evaluate the month with your team. So you can just click on the template and it will give you this edit model where you can still rephrase the questions if you don't have them. This is actually a survey template. I think the questions are pretty good. I don't need to rephrase anything. So I'm going to go and hit save. And I have the polls in the list of my polls. But I actually like to also use a retrospective with my team for some team bonding. So let's see whether this library can give me some ideas of how to use that, how to use Slido for that as well. And I quite like these open text poll template, personal thank yous. I think this might be a really nice way of how I can build some appreciation in my team. And I think the question, who would you like to praise for last month and why, is actually pretty nice phrased. I don't need to rephrase anything. I can just hit save and have it ready for my meeting. So this is it. This is how you can use the templates. You can run them directly from your Slido admin or just add them into your presentation flow using one of our integrations, and you are ready to go. But this is not everything we did in this library. We have also revamped this category, My Previous Polls, where you can find all the polls you ever created in Slido and also reuse them at your newly created events. And we have strengthened this search option. So by typing any keyword, the search will give you examples from your past polls or Slido templates, and you can also quickly find something that you are looking for. So this is the library in a nutshell. I hope it will help you to organize even more engaging meetings, and it will give you more inspiration. And if you have any feedback or ideas of how we can make this library even better, we'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Luba, for sharing. That was certainly delicious, at least for me. I still find inspiration there, even though I use Slido quite a lot. So thank you for that. I can see the Q&A is queuing up, and you guys are questions. So just make sure that you upvote those that you really like, so that we can take a step at those first. And now I think I'm ready to introduce our second speaker today. When it comes to zooming in on the features, who is Anna. And Anna is our user researcher. And she'll tell you a bit more about most of Slido's recent favorite feature, which is a typing indicator. So Anna, do you want to tell us more?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Matti. And hello and welcome everyone to this product update event. So as Matti has already told you, I'm a user researcher here in one of the product teams in Slido. And our mission in the team is to build features that enable our users to create a natural dialogue with their audiences. So today I want to show you some of the cool features that we have for you, and also tell you a little bit of the background story of how they came to be. So in case you've ever wondered how product decisions are made in Slido, I'm happy to give you a little sneak peek today. Basically, before we change or introduce anything new in the product, we try to go really deep into feature requests and make sure that we really do our homework to identify the fundamental user needs behind any request we get. Surprisingly, the ideal solution to problems or requests can end up looking vastly different from what had been requested in the first place. So let's take a look at an example of a frequent request we get in Slido, which is to enable music in polls. And to begin with, we totally get it. There are different roles that music can play, especially during remote or hybrid meetings. It can grab your meeting participants' attention and give them a signal they need to do something. It could lighten the mood or just add an element of entertainment in more casual settings, and potentially it could just fill moments of silence. So we gathered our hypotheses and started our quest to understand whether we can make music in polls work. And in that process, we had extensive conversations with our users, in which some of you might even have participated. Interestingly, as we dug deeper, we identified awkward silences as one of the key concerns behind this feature request. It's an issue that meeting facilitators with little to lots of experience tend to struggle with or have reportedly experienced at least at some point or another. And maybe you can relate. If you've ever moderated an event or a meeting, be it virtual or in person, you probably know exactly how silent it can get sometimes. Without nonverbal or visual cues, it's easy to feel a little lost. And often, it's all the more challenging for those who moderate or facilitate hybrid meetings. So in the context of Slido, the awkward silence we found tends to occur during the voting itself. What adds to it is the facilitator's uncertainty of how much time is just about enough for participants to respond before the poll is closed. So in the absence of visual or nonverbal cues, it would only make sense to add some background music to fill the dead time, right? Well, not exactly. We can reframe how we think about silence. It can mean that your meeting participants are actually still thinking hard about their responses and just need some more time to put it into words. And in fact, in our research, 56% of users we talked to voiced a concern that music in polls might actually be distracting for their meeting participants, which is why they wouldn't use it. This piece of feedback was mostly shared by one of our main personas who are trainers or educators. For them, music in polls just wouldn't work. So these findings led us to focus on some alternative features that center more around visual cues as opposed to auditory ones, and that will enable better and smoother facilitation experiences for meeting hosts. And ultimately, the so-called typing indicator was born. You've seen it at some points already today. And it's a seemingly small change, yet a very reassuring cue for presenters in the moment of polling. We started thinking about this feature in the context of our open text poll, where typing responses can often cause moments of delay, as it just takes longer to respond in this poll in general. The indicator can give you a sense of live participant activity in progress and of who has an intent to respond before you decide to close the poll. The feedback we got was so positive that we decided to take this feature to the survey and word cloud too. And we didn't want to restrict this feature to text-only responses. So today you can already see an indicator of live participant activity in the ranking poll as well. But let's actually see an example of the typing indicator in action here. So the following is a short recording clip from our Slido company offsite, which took place actually just a couple of weeks ago.
I have actually a quick question for you. And again, let's go back to our phones. And if you could, in one or two words, show us or tell us, like, what are the one or two words that would really define the Slido culture for you? Take a moment, think about it. And we already have some results coming in. Caring, we care, kindness, family, inclusiveness, friendly, trust, unique, people, right? Freedom, open, amazing, right? Freedom and responsibility together. And I can see there are still some 12 participants typing. Beautiful feature. Big shout out to Team C again. But no, thanks guys for sharing. And really, this is like you can see on the slide, like what is really Slido culture is about.
So here you saw how Como, whom you've met at the beginning of this webinar, facilitates the word cloud poll. He's using the visual cue, and that is the typing indicator, and references it in his presentation, and consequently knows the right time to move on and end the voting. And we have some more for you. Did you ever want to follow up on specific open text responses, but didn't quite know who to address about them? This can feel a little like speaking into the void at times, once again, causing potential moments of awkward silence. Well, now you have the option to see who contributed each submission. And if you don't want to show participant names at all, this feature can be disabled. And participants can, of course, always submit as anonymous. Or let's say you're running an open text poll with a large audience. Have you ever had difficulty following all the responses that appear on the screen? Now you can see the common topics in your participants' responses with just a click of a button. You can toggle on this in your event settings under Slido Labs. And as you see here in this image, AI has identified values, habits, and rules as the main response themes in this poll, asking about how one would define culture in the workplace. We believe that this feature will provide you with some structure to facilitating your polls and making sense of the responses you're receiving in real time. So on the surface, the things I've just described to you seem like little things, but in reality, they're little things we've put a lot of thought and effort into. And those little things in combination can make a big difference to our users by giving them just the right cues at the right time and letting them know they're not alone. So the next time you see someone still typing or voting, I encourage you to bring them into the conversation and turn the pause into an opportunity to let people know how much you care about their input. And with that, back to you, Matti.
Thank you very much, Anna. So I hope now you can see why this is everyone's favorite new feature. I certainly love it. And now we're gonna give word to another Anna, actually, again from a user research team. And this Anna is actually no stranger to the stage because as her hobby, she is a stand-up comedian. And today she'll talk to you about some Webex integration research. Anna, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. This won't be nearly as funny as I usually am, but I promise I'll do my best. But I've got some really exciting news in store for you all. So again, my name is Anna. I'm part of the integrations team here at Slido. And that's because at Slido, we believe that our tools should work seamlessly with key collaboration tools in your workflow, right? We should be making your meetings and your workday easier, not harder. And without further ado, I'd like to ask you the following question. We've been working a lot on our integration. So my question to you is, what video conferencing platforms do you use to attend meetings? Keyword is attend here, not host. Awesome. Look at the race at the top. Oh, this is like watching NASCAR.
Even better if you ask me.
Or Formula One, whatever it is that you're into. And thank you so much to our great team who added that feature at the top. I still see that some of you are voting. Look at this tight race. I love to see who's at the top. Very exciting. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your votes. It looks like Webex wins the race, followed pretty closely by Microsoft Teams and Zoom. So in this digital world, right, we're using quite a few platforms to attend our meetings. But let's pretend Webex is still at the top because I'm going to tell you a little bit more today about the new Webex sidebar design that we've been working so hard on, especially after our acquisition with Cisco. So I hope you can spot the differences that we see here in the integration. So out with the old, this is what we used to look like, and in with the new. Wow, so shiny, so beautiful. So if you continue clicking, I'll highlight some of the things we've added. So really, it's just a sleeker look, right? There's fewer boxes. There's less, there's things taking up space. And we have one panel to manage everything, right? The same place to manage your polls. You don't have to go back and forth between screens to see everything that you need to launch your polls. What else is new? This is our previous design. This is our new design. So this is specifically when it comes to poll management, right? You can super easily edit on the fly. That way you don't have to stop or sorry, you don't have to like go back to a different screen to make an edit to your question. Let's say in the middle of your meeting, if you find a typo. We've also added an action bar. That way you've got all of the different actions that you need to take during your meeting, just in that little bar at the bottom. And again, you don't have to go back to a different screen to easily be able to manage your polls. And we really hope that's added a much better experience for our administrators of Slido. We've also added image polls. This was such a common request, especially to add into our Webex integration from our users. It makes polls more fun. Who doesn't love a good little image every once in a while? So we've added that feature as well. What else is new when it comes to showing poll results? This is our previous design. Wow, look at the new design. Again, that sleek, nice, smooth design, one color. As you can see, just the way that the numbers are labeled, it's a much better visual for result management. It's very easy as an administrator to tell, okay, this is what my participants are thinking and answering. We've also, again, the super cool action bar. I have to bring it up a second time. As you can see, it changed a little bit from the previous one because you might need some different features when you're actually administering a poll versus when you're editing. And we've made sure to think about that throughout your experience. And lastly, I think I saw Sean post this in the chat. Because we've made this design sleeker, easier to use, we've made sure that the experience to run the Slido includes less or fewer clicks. The accessibility is much better. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, Sean, since that was top of mind for you in the Q&A. So at the end of the day, we've created a simple design for a simple experience, right? We didn't want to make your meetings more difficult if you were using Slido and Webex. We wanted to make it easier, and we really hope that we've delivered that with these new designs. And if you like what you see, we have heard plenty of people telling us that they want to see the same designs in Zoom and in MS Teams. That is on our roadmap coming up this year. We'll talk a little bit more about it today, but I hope you're excited to see this design come to life in your other integrations as well. Up next, a final feature I'd like to tell you about is now anyone can launch a poll from the Webex sidebar. That's right, it's not just the host. So I'll tell you a little bit more about how we got to this feature. So first I'll ask you a question. If you're a meeting participant, what is your dream scenario? Let's say you're in a Webex meeting, you're attending, the content's being shown. Do you think that anyone should be able to launch a poll at any point to increase that collaboration? Do you think that only the host or co-host should be able to launch a poll? It's their meeting, they should have all the power. Or should anyone be able to launch a poll, but the host has ultimate control over whether or not they want to let others launch their polls? Let me know what you think. Okay, interesting.
Is this what you expected?
To be honest, actually, I didn't know where this was going to land. I really did think that people would choose more, that only hosts and co-hosts should be able to launch the poll, because I know some people are worried about, right? Like, we don't have Zoom bombing here at Webex, okay? So maybe that's why it's not as much of a concern. But thank you all for participating in this poll. I'm glad you chose this answer because, drumroll please, this is me drumming in air. You picked the correct solution. That's exactly the one that we went with. Anyone can start a poll during a Webex meeting, but the host is king, right? We didn't want there to be total disordered chaos. And, you know, because let's say if you're a teacher in a 5th grade virtual classroom, you might get some interesting polls being thrown out there, and you need to be able to put a stop to it if you need to. So the host is king and is able to make the ultimate decision over who does and doesn't run a poll. It's a wonderful new feature, and it was really commonly requested because oftentimes we have people that aren't the host of a meeting necessarily, but they are the ones presenting the content, and they wanted easy access to Slido, but weren't able to before. So now you have this feature. So what did this new design and this new awesome feature result in? Well, first and foremost, as far as our new design, we've just seen continued increase in adoption of the Webex integration, and people seem to be really happy with the new design. Here are a few quotes from our customers. Utterly instinctual design, frictionless. That's exactly what we were going for, frictionless. Good usability for admins and user-friendly. Again, we wanted to make sure that those administrating Slido were having an easier time running their meetings and collaborating with their attendees, not a harder time. And then as far as participant-initiated polls, now we have data over the last couple of months that tells us it's 36% of all polls launched in the Webex integration are launched by participants. That is a huge number of questions that we were potentially missing out on, or not even potentially, that we were missing out on before this feature was launched. And we're so glad that we launched it. And here's some feedback we've gotten for it. I didn't even have to think about it because it worked so seamlessly, or I didn't even realize that it was something I couldn't do before because it was so easy to use. So hopefully you all can enjoy this feature yourselves in the future. And I look forward to bringing you more of these things in other integrations that you'd like to see as well. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for that. That was some exciting news. And now we're going to go to Graham. But before that, this is your gentle reminder to post your questions, but also upvote those that you like, because there's a lot of questions already. So I'm not sure we'll have time to answer all of them here live. So make sure you upvote the questions. But now over to Graham, who's actually a user researcher turned product manager for our analytics team, which is super excited. And he will walk you through what's new in data and analytics in Slido.
Lovely. Thanks, Matty. And it's great to be here with all of you. And as just said, I'm going to kind of talk you through quickly what new improvements we have in the world of analytics, and in particular around engagement. So as I'm sure we're all aware, kind of since the pandemic, more and more of us are using Webex, hopefully Webex, but some perhaps Zoom as well, and other kind of conferencing tools to run our meetings or trainings. But have you ever faced a situation where all or perhaps most of your meeting participants have their cameras switched off? Similar to this kind of situation facing this poor lady on the screen here. It can sometimes feel like you're kind of shouting into the void, and you have no idea if the participants are engaging with your content. And then even if participants all have their cameras on, it can still be challenging to gauge whether the topics you're discussing are resonating and whether participants are truly engaging with what you're saying. And when we've talked to our users about some of the problems they have with their meetings or training, understanding whether participants are engaged is one of their top concerns. And these two insights from some of our users highlight some of the problems that many of our customers, many of our users face. So the first here talks about how difficult it is to understand whether participants are engaged, especially in online meetings. You know, people can be distracted, they have their cameras off, they might even be watching Netflix. It's hard to know. And this user is saying that, you know, they do their monthly training on Zoom, and people are so used to just coming with their camera off that they just can't tell whether those participants are engaged or not. But then looking at, you know, using Slido, you know, if we can show them how many people signed into Slido, how many people engage with Slido, then that would be really, really useful for them. And then this second insight focuses more on the problem of measuring engagement within meetings and how you can compare perhaps one meeting with another. And this user kind of highlights the issue of measuring and understanding that engagement, and talking about how, you know, it'd be useful for them to be able to perhaps even have a benchmark, whether that's something they have as an organization or even as an individual, of thinking, you know, in one meeting I had 60% of people engage with Slido, and then perhaps next meeting I'm going to try and push and get 70% of people to answer my polls or ask a question in the Q&A. And so for these problems, Slido can kind of help you understand that engagement by providing you with data and an insight into the number of people who interact with a poll or ask a question. So when we wanted to redesign the new kind of data in the dashboard around engagement, we first started very simply by asking users what was important to them, what information they want to receive from Slido around engagement. And we did that by showing this very simple Excel spreadsheet with some data points on and saying, you know, what is it that is useful to you, and kind of how would you want that to look? We narrowed down what was important and useful, and then we started to build the new engagement dashboard. And this is the result. So this is what you can now see in your event analytics tab. If you click onto that tab, you'll see this brand new event engagement dashboard. And this will help you understand how people during your meetings, during your trainings, are engaging with Slido. And it gives you scores for this engagement as well. It gives you a score for overall engagement, it gives you a score for Q&A engagement, and it gives you a score for poll engagement. And these scores, they're percentages, so they're standardized. And so that means it's very easy to compare from event to event and see how many people are using Slido to engage with your meeting or with your event. There's also lots of new data points that we've added into the dashboard to help you explore and dive in and see these trends. And the reason we've done this and the feedback we're getting is this now gives our users more kind of confidence to understand how people are engaging with the meetings and the content that's being presented to them. So hopefully, why not in your next meeting or training, run more Slido polls perhaps than you would. The more polls that you run, the more chance you get to see how people are engaged. And it'll give you that information to understand how engaged your participants have been throughout the session. And also, if you've got any feedback around engagement or the analytics or anything you'd love to see in there, definitely do let us know.
Thank you very much, Graham. I have to say, when it comes to me and the data, the more the merrier. So this is really exciting for me. And I know some of our customers as well, right? Like we've seen people exporting things and trying to figure things out in Excel. So this has been brilliant. Thank you very much. Lovely. And with that, we are done with the zooming in on the features, and we're going to host actually my boss, who is the head of product in Slido, Peter Kryniak, also known as Kraki. And if I can say one thing about him, it's probably that he's the most passionate person about solving customer problems that I've met. So Kraki, the stage is yours, and give us a sneak peek into what's coming in the product.
Thanks so much. How are you doing, Maciej?
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, this is actually awesome to be running an event for really, really long time. So yeah, as Maciej said, I'm Peter. They call me Kraki over here. So let me actually show the roadmap. But before that, I would like to actually tell you a little bit how we approached product development, as Anna and Graham already mentioned. First of all, Como mentioned what is our vision and mission, but also I would like to mention what are our values. And we really like to build product with simply clever, we call it. So really like it should be as simple as possible, but still clever. It should do the job. I believe when we release something and you are using the product, I really hope that you feel the care and really how much love we put into either user research and engineering as well. And also the value don't stop, that we really don't stop when we feel like it is the right thing actually to build, and it is the right way to build it. So I really hope you feel it. I have two numbers which kind of demonstrate it, 400 and 1400 plus something. This could be a poll, but I'm just going to mention right away what I mean by that. So every year we do actually 400 plus user goals and usability testings, really with people like you or potential customers, really understand what the needs are. And there's also a big shout out, not big shout out, but a big ask. There will be a survey at the end of this event. So if you can put your email address in, and basically we would like to contact you again for the user research purposes, like how you use the tool, and if there is anything you would like to change. We could see plenty of questions about feature requests as well. So we would love to actually know really what do you use Slido for, why you need a particular feature. And 1400 plus, that's a big shout out to our engineering team. Because we do 14 releases plus, and the number is increasing every year. 1400 releases a year, which really means if you think of it, it's almost 6 releases a day that actually Slido changes 6 times a day. And what this actually helps us is really iterate very, very quickly with the small steps of very quickly. If you make a mistake, we can revert it very quickly back. And but also what this actually allows us or kind of forces us is to have almost everything covered by automatic testing. So even before something goes to production, we would know that maybe it's a mistake, like it would break something else. So I'm super proud. I think it's a engineering marvel over here, and it's really awesome for the team size that we have to do actually 6 releases a day. But this is what you came for, I believe. So what is coming in the next 12 months? So let's have a look together. And the first is kind of like a smaller thing, which should be released quite soon. So customizable rating poll. So it's not only like stars, but you can actually choose emojis. There's also like a scale that you are requesting, like what is on the lower side and the higher side. But also we are improving word cloud and the survey. Basically, you will see the roadmap later. You can take a screenshot for exactly what we are doing actually over here. The next thing is actually slightly bigger. Anna was mentioning how we redesigned the host experience in Webex, and we would like to bring similar experience to the rest of the product as well. We are quite happy how this works, but now we are trying to figure out how we can make it like really also code-wise and design-wise very seamless and sleek. So when you go, you basically see the same thing everywhere. And yeah, hopefully this is a really big project for us. I'm very excited to do this. But yeah, it's also a bit scary. So let's see how it goes. Next one, you, many of you, I've seen many of you are from education environment, but we also have customers within larger corporations, and especially during the all hand meetings, it's a team of people who are working on particular meeting, or internal trainers, or even teachers actually at schools. They might be teaching the same subject, or assistant teacher, and they could be actually working on the same Slido events. And currently, it's kind of like almost Slido is almost like an individual experience. So we would like to definitely make it more collaborative, and our team spaces should solve this. Next one is analytics. So as Graham shared, we did lots of work on analytics. It was like lots of research work, but also lots of backend work. We need to put like the analytics in order, and I think we did a good job for the last 12 months. But now what we'd like to actually do is make it more accessible for you or for your colleagues. So again, if you manage to have an event, you would like to share the results either with your boss or with colleagues, or maybe really like on LinkedIn or Facebook, as many people do. They take screenshots of Slido and share it there. We would like to make it much easier, so you can actually pick the elements which you can share, particle polls, and you can just share it. So that's our plan to do, and I'm also really excited about it. And last thing, I think that you are actually super excited about. I've seen the questions in Slido. The first of all, we know the Microsoft Teams is not like the best integration ever we made, but we are improving it, and Microsoft will allow us to improve it a little bit. So this is the next thing from the integration team. But then if you are on Zoom or Webex, we would see the emojis kind of coming in, the hearts and everything. The Zoom integration is the next one we would like to work on. And there was a question as well if Webex would allow us to create Zoom integrations. Yes, of course. But we are happy that Zoom is allowing us to make an integration, and we are super excited to be actually working on it. And the last thing is almost like let's see how excited you will be about it. But currently, we in Slido we support like depends on the features, but it's definitely not 100,000 people. But what we are working on the infrastructure level, that we can actually events up to 100,000 participants. So obviously, it will be not really like a big stadium of people most of the time. It will be like a webinar like this one with 100,000 participants. So we are integrating with Webcast, which is like Cisco's Webex event webinar platform, and they support 100,000 people. We would like to make that happen as well in Slido. So Q&A and polls will be coming soon. Will be coming first, and yeah, that's kind of from the very, very big things for us that we are doing Slido. This is it from me. But I would like to actually ask you a question from which of these you are actually excited the most about. And if you can pick three, that would be awesome. You can pick as many as you want, but I just agree you pick three, and I'm really curious what you are actually excited about. Again, like a NASCAR race, team spaces and shareable analytics.
Anything that surprised you, Kraki?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like Zoom will be first, probably, as we hear from the feedback from our customers. But Yeah, MS Teams was quite high as well, but now Zoom is third. Yeah, really nice. Improve and shareable analytics. Graham, here we go. You picked the right thing. So yeah, really nice. But we also promised that this was event that you actually can also influence or give us feedback what to actually build. So I have one more poll for you, which is about if you have a magic wand kind of question. What is a bigger wish in Slido we should make through it? It is a word cloud, and I'm super curious actually what you would like to have. It can be even the pane, like a tiny pane you have in Slido, like let's say I don't know, something doesn't work for you, or yeah, or something like you think. I've seen question about VR and AR as well, like whatever you think. Oh, make PowerPoint integration, obviously that's first. I see bank of examples. I think Strudel, I kind of covered that a little bit before. So we have some example questions, plenty of example questions. I think there were about 100 of them. So it should be good. Colors, chat integration, themes, multiple branding options. I think it's a good one as well. Cool.
Few chat options kind of spread throughout as well.
Yep. Yeah, I can see the messaging. So again, I would like to ask you, Matja will be asking for a feedback at the very end. If you can put your email address in so we can kind of connect this answer with that email. And we would like to contact you about this. So regarding PowerPoint integration, we can't promise anything. It's a really big technical challenge for us, and we don't see like a straight way how to do it yet. It's like in technical research, so that's why we can't really promise that this will actually happen. So that's why we didn't announce it as a thing that we are really working on, but we are looking at it, and I be completely honest, we can't actually promise that we'll actually make it happen. I have one more slide here, which is actually our roadmap for you to see. So how we are thinking about the roadmap. The green part is something that we think is like a 90% chance we will deliver in the next 12 months. And the yellow part is something that the team would actually start next as they finish the green part. And it's about 50% chance that we will finish it in the next 12 months. You can see on the left-hand side, there are the teams that are working on those particular features. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. So I'm not going through all of this, but you can have a look later, and feel free to decide if that's something that is interesting to you. And I guess that will be it from me. We can go to the Q&A part.
Perfect. Thank you, Kraki. Hopefully this was exciting for you. And not only thank Kraki, or I want to thank Kraki, but also all of the other speakers who's been here with me, and they're actually going to join me for that Q&A. And so, as I said, there's a lot of questions already, so thank you for that. A lot of them are not upvoted or liked. So I'm gonna shut up for a few seconds and have you skim through them, and please upvote those that are interesting for you, and then we can start tackling them.
So maybe we can comment on the first one in the meantime. So yes, there will be integration with the Zoom, as I mentioned. We don't have like a specific timeline. Rosie, I don't know if you'd like to add something to it. And just Rosie is our product manager for integrations.
Hi, hi everyone. I have something little to add. We have started looking into the user experience of what it would look like to have Slido in Zoom. And then we also looked into some of the technical requirements and whether something like that could be feasible for us. We found out that it's okay-ish. It's really nice. We could work with that, but we still need a bit more time to figure out how to do certain things. We want to make sure that Zoom works really well for everyone, and especially for you guys, our users. So with a bit more time and perhaps a bit more resources, we'll be able to get started. But we don't have a timeline yet, as Peter mentioned.
Thank you, Brosi. And while we have you, there's actually kind of a follow-up question from Ronnie. By the way, thank you for putting your name in, which is Slido acquisition by Cisco preventing us from Zoom integration happening? So if you want to tackle that as well, Brosi.
Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think there are any roadblocks right now or anything of that sort. We can get started anytime we want. That's the answer. So we're happy to start.
Thank you. Great. And while we have you, Brosi, one more for the integration team. When will the Slido integration with PowerPoint for Mac be available?
Again, my favorite phrase. I don't know when will it be available, but again, I have some great news for everyone. We looked and we recently started looking into how to make that work. We know there are many people who love Mac and also use PowerPoint in Mac. I know I've been saying this for quite some time, but I think now is a good time to get started. We don't have a timeline. We just know roughly how it could work. We need more time, but it's definitely on our radar. It's the top priority kind of going forward in the future. So it's just a matter of time at this point. Hope that helps. If not, then just ask follow-up questions.
Thank you, Brosi. We do have a question from Stephanie about the feature request or an idea. So she's saying, I'd like to be able to mark questions as answered, but still visible to the participant in an answered tab versus a hidden archive. So allowing both. Why hide answers is the question. Kraki, do you want to take this one?
Yeah. I talked to to the PM who is responsible for the Q&A today. It is one of the most requested features. So there are a couple of things we to tackle with the redesign, and this should be quite high on the list. Can't really promise that we will actually really make it happen because there are a couple of dependencies. But yeah, we would love to tackle that because we have essentially similar problem in Slido as well. So we want to figure out how to do it best, but we just don't know how to.
Perfect. So some user research coming. One more feature request, which is around jazzing up the word clouds by incorporating some inputs as vertical text and also adding some colors. Kraki, again, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I can start, and Anna maybe can add actually. So as I mentioned, there are some word cloud improvements coming, and if you'd like to change the colors, you can actually change a theme in Slido. You can go to settings, and there are like different colors. You wouldn't like to be like as super colorful as a brand. It's basically like a part of the brand that it's a professional kind of looking setup. That's what we'd like to keep. And also the vertical things, I don't think we'll actually go that direction. But regarding the animations and how Slido workout works, there are some improvements coming. Anna, maybe something to add?
Yeah, pretty much that the team is already right now working on this, on adding kind of more lively animation to the word cloud, and it's in the making already.
Great, some more exciting things coming. Few more feature requests at the top. So one is adding mathematical symbols in polls when you write the question. So I guess this is coming from those of you working in education. And this is a question for Anna again, or Kraki?
If you'd like to take it, Anna.
It's a good question and a good request that we hear every now and then. But as for now, this isn't really like very high priority on in our backlog. But we keep kind of monitoring the requests and seeing like if we see more of those, we might reconsider. But as for now, not very high priority.
Thank you for answering that. And actually, Anna, one more for polls. So polls seem to be really top priority for people. So for multiple choice, how about allowing a picture along with the text? So for example, if voting on person for award, nominees pick a name would be listed on each choice line.
Right. Also really, really great request. And I have some good news here. So this is actually one of the features that we want to focus on for the time coming. So you can expect to see something coming out here, not in the very immediate future, but this is kind of the next bigger feature that we're trying to tackle in the team. So stay tuned on that one.
Great, perfect, thank you. One more question from Carolyn. I hope I pronounced that right. And this is for Strudla about the templates. So are templates available within the Webex integration as well?
So the templates are available now just within Slido admin and not within any other integrations. I hope and believe that once we tackle some bigger issues and things that we need to fix in Webex, we might come to this as well in the future and add the integration, the templates also in the Webex integration. Kraki, if you want to add something, or Anna.
I think all good.
Perfect. No additions then. And one more for you. Can organization admins create ad templates just within their organization?
Great question. And actually, this is very high on our list of ideas of what we can do in the future with the templates library. And it's a great example how the templates can be used within teams or organizations. For now, like, we don't have anything planned for the templates. Again, we are now focusing on using the resources for maybe bigger work that we need to do, but this is definitely something we would like to add in the future because we see like a big value in providing this for the users.
Maybe just to add, it will be also a nice addition to the team spaces. So when we have the team spaces, we would love to this kind of thing be part of it in the future. So.
Thanks. So Anna, you talked about Music Impulse in general, but what about music to gamify quizzes?
Yes, of course, that's also kind of one of the common use cases you can think about when adding Music Impulse as like this sort of fun and entertaining element. But for the time being, as I have mentioned in the presentation, we have decided to kind of move forward with more kind of visual cues to facilitate or to help facilitation. And there are also quite a lot of technical challenges that come with that in the setting of hybrid meetings. So as of now, this is also not very high priority for us. Who knows, we might reconsider in the future, but not currently on our radar.
Thank you, Anna. One for
maybe I just add that we are not saying no to quizzes or music. We just, like, thanks to our research, we figured out that like there was a bigger pain that people had, and we decided to actually fix that one first.
Perfect. Thank you, Peter, for adding that. So one from Jennifer to Graham. Have there been any updates with reporting?
Yes. So if by reporting you mean the kind of analytics and exports of your events, then yes, absolutely. As I was kind of showing before, we've got the new engagement dashboard, and for event analytics, we're looking at making some changes, some smaller changes to the data which we're providing you for specific events. So things like question sentiment, we're going to make much more accessible and easy to find. Some more insights around your poll results as well. That's kind of what we're going to be focusing on, along with the then making that easy to share. For definitely the first half, probably the rest of the majority of kind of the next year. But also we are aware that perhaps reporting on the account side could have some improvements, and that's something that, although isn't going to be the main focus for the next upcoming months, is definitely something we'd like to look at some point too. And hopefully that's what you meant by reporting. If it's something else, do let us know.
Exactly. Let us know in the questions. So Anonymous is asking about the Webex. So Slido won't launch in Webex practice mode. Will that change? Is this one for Anna or Brozy?
I can take that one. I actually agree with you. I remember we had a similar issue. We were trying to launch it and it didn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work. I think there may be some technical restrictions. I agree with you. I don't know if we can make that happen. I'm taking a note. I can ask the team for sure. It's an interesting idea. So thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you very much, Brosi, for that. And Carolyn is asking, can you make it so that hosts can see the Q&A tab while watching the results of an ongoing poll? Right now, if I'm watching results, I can't see questions. That's a really interesting ask. Is this for you, Kraki?
It can be. I think again, I would probably reiterate. Please actually put your email when we ask during feedback. We would definitely love to talk to you and understand it. So far, again, as I talk to the PM who is responsible for the Q&A, they are doing just research about what are like the things that we should improve during like at our Q&A feature, or you know what I mean. And people kind of like that is actually really distinguished the Q&A feature from the polls. So I'm not 100% sure we'll be doing that, but will be great to understand a little bit more because yeah, as I say, we haven't heard this probably before. But it has 6 likes, so it must be
happening,
somehow.
right?
Yeah.
So for sure, let us know, Carolyn. And I love this next question. What is your biggest dream for Slido? Kraki, do you want to again take this one?
I can take it. I was thinking like because we've seen the questions. It was posted before. So maybe it's gonna be a little bit like a cheesy answer. I was thinking about, and so Slido, you probably know, it's actually a very simple tool to use, but also very kind of like a very simple tool. I think the magic of Slido is not really like what can Slido do, but what you can do with Slido. And I think that's probably our biggest challenge is kind of like a teaching. Like you can have a PowerPoint and you can make like really terrible PowerPoint presentation. You can make a great PowerPoint presentation. It's the same PowerPoint presentation. So I think really like in the meetings and events and trainings, etc., when people know how to use Slido well, that's really like magic. It's awesome, and this is our biggest challenge. So I think my dream would be that people would really kind of like teach each other how actually to use and what kind of polls to use, etc., etc., and it would like nicely spread, and the meetings and events and etc. would be definitely more engaging. So yeah, that would be probably my biggest dream.
That's a nice dream to dream. Hopefully not a dream, hopefully a goal that we're working towards. Lovely. Klaus is asking, is there a way to create different screens within socio events? I would like to see both the stream and Slido, but not the left side with the directory/menu. Does anyone know the answer to that one?
I don't think so.
Okay. You don't think so, as it's not possible, or?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we have an answer to this. We can ask socio guys.
Cool, 100%. Okay, so we'll check that for you. We will take a few more questions. There's a lot of questions. Some of them have no upvotes. So again, please take a minute if you're still with us. Hopefully you are, and upvote some of those that you like. And then
so we have time, for about 3 more questions?
Yeah, let's do 3 more questions. So give upvote to your favorite ones so that we make sure that we answer those live. Embracing the awkward silence here, waiting for you to read through this.
We could use some music, right?
Or a typing indicator for reading.
Yeah.
Advanced AI.
Lisa heard us.
Sweet.
Nice. So we have 2 with 4 likes. So let's take them. Asynchronous quizzes.
Yes, asynchronous quizzes. So Anna, is that something that is coming to Slido?
Well, I think it's sure to say that we're starting to look more closely into the use case of asynchronous in general, slowly but surely. But yeah, as for that specific feature, I think this is a bit longer along the line. Kraki, do you have anything to add to this?
No, nothing to add. Probably for the next 12 months, we actually won't be really focusing on asynchronicity in general. You could see the themes that we will be actually focusing on. But maybe from the year on, we can tackle it. It is a big topic in Slido. We just decided like asynchronicity wouldn't be this particular year because there's a lot of technical challenges we would have to actually fix.
Thank you for answering that. Let's take a question from Erin. Is there a way to keep our company branding saved and applied to every event? Currently, I'm customizing the look for our, sorry, I kind of skipped over, for our presentation every time. And there is some answers as well, but does any one of you want to take it and let the other audience members know what's the answer to this one?
Yeah, probably the best thing is actually to duplicate events. You can keep that, but also don't remember how exactly that works. But if you contact our customer care, they can definitely apply the branding for your entire organization as well. So I'm not 100% sure if this is already in the product, but it's also okay. Joey sending me a message that that's in org settings already. So yeah, you can do that in organization settings. Not like, yeah, not everything, but bits and pieces would be there.
Perfect, thank you. And one last question, and I'm gonna actually take one that is not most upvoted, so I hope Christine won't be too mad at me. And that is about the tech industry that is rapidly adopting VR and AR. Is this something the Slido product team is actively looking into as well? Kraki?
Yeah, we are currently not looking at VR and AR like really currently. I think we would wait a little bit, kind of like trying to understand it slightly more, and then like how actually people are picking it up, and then build into it. We can see the growth actually outside of it quite a lot. So yeah, we would take a little bit and then take a look. I think we have time maybe for one more question, which was like Christine has 6 likes, and then we can.
Sure, let's take Christine's then. So what are your best practices recommendations for duplicating an event or resetting results versus keeping previous results and Q&A?
I believe Brozy was researching this one before, so maybe he can take that.
I was searching. I was looking at the chat comments. Sorry, I got distracted. There's some good stuff there too. What are the best practices recommend for duplicating an event, resetting results, keeping previous results? So there are a couple of ways, I think. Well, one of them is you can just duplicate the event that you have. I know that's probably something you know, Christine. The other thing is you can use the multiple rooms feature, which allows you to create like multiple sessions within the same Slido event using the same event code. So in that case, you don't have to open and find the right event. Everything sits under one Slido code, and you can just create the polls and run the Q&As kind of off of that. Hope that helps. I'm not sure. If you're using like Google Slides or PowerPoint, there is a different way to manage your decks, but you're not suggesting that, so I'm just assuming you're asking about the web version. So that's that.
And by the way, we do have a really useful community page on our website. So if you want to dig a bit more into best practices, this is a great place to go to. And I'm sorry, but I have to ask this question because I love it. And it's the one with the 3 likes. Peter, is that orange toy car a Lego Porsche?
Yes, it is. Yeah, there's a question from there.
Yeah.
It is a Eclipse. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And I think with that, we are ready to close this Q&A, but don't worry, we will still take a step at the unanswered question. We'll answer them and we'll send it alongside with the recording and the presentation and all of that. And
Martina, sorry.
Yep.
The answer to Sean's question is yes, you can use the keyboard to reorder the ranking poll. Sorry, I had to. I had to. It's too simple not to answer.
Fair enough. Okay, and with that, let's close the Q&A because we want to keep you around for a little bit longer. Hopefully, as we've established throughout this event, we do love to listen to our customers, and we do so actively. So we do have a feedback poll or a feedback survey that we would love for you to fill out. So please let us know how you like this event, but also how you like the features and all the things that we've presented to you. And I'm going to ask Lisa, who I also want to give a shout out to, that's our backstage person, making all the cool transitions, to play a music because I simply can't shut up when people are filling Slido out. So please let's play some background music while you're filling feedback in. Great, the feedback's coming in, so thank you for that. And again, we will be taking a step at the unanswered questions, so don't worry. But also I wanted to mention the community page on our website, which is where you can ask your questions, but also find a lot of great answers and insights. And not only chat to people from Slido who are actively monitoring and answering all of the questions, but also your fellow other Slido users. So that's a really, really useful resource to know. And the feedback is still pouring in, so that's great to see. And with that, I again want to take some time to say thank you. Thank you for being with us, not only on this event, but also throughout our Slido journey. It's been great talking to you. And I have to say, a lot of times we are discussing with our user researchers how great our customers are and how we love talking to them. So it's really, really lovely to be with you today. And I want to give one more shout out. And there is actually a next Slido event coming up that will be all about the science behind leading through change. And this is an event that's coming up in November 3rd, I believe. And it will be hybrid. So if you are in London, feel free to come in and be with us live. But if you're not, it will, of course, be hosted online as well. So you can join that one. There's more information coming anywhere where you are following us. And with that, I want to, again, say a huge thank you. Thank you for being here with us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, wherever that is. It's been lovely hosting you.